Hello, my name's Michael Vince. I'm going to be reading you some poems from my book, Plain Text. Starting off with a poem about Gavin Douglas, the 16th century Scottish poet. Who could be interested in him? Well, he translated Virgil, the Aeneid, and this is a poem about him. He did it in 18 months. So the poem is called Master Gavin Douglas's 18 months. The Roman world, tendrils of vine, tiny household gods, ranked legions before fall, recede across river boulders misted with spray, borne on strict columns, layered brick tile. In the dark hours, tallow candle by firelight, line after line of words unlock, wade up, and on dour days, snow blackening in the lane, the poem, time's aqueduct, channels their flow. The hero bears his father on his back away from the burning city. Great poem, favourite child, I carry you pacing about in my turret room, shouldering your rhythm beyond the world's limit. On Wemmet, unstained, is how I describe fame, that of my master poet. Small stones, some tesserae sieved from a hillside, the near burns scouring clean. 18 months now, faded in gleaming weather. This is a very different poem about my neighbour who walked with crutches. And I saw a painting by Guardi called Grey Lagoon, in which the lone gondolier is sort of rowing across the lagoon in the evening. It looks a pretty final departure. So this poem is called Grey Lagoon. The dark body of the boat, a shadow on the grey water, the man rowing at the stern, picked out in silver. All his life, they said at his death, the painter worked for his daily living. The years of grey, unrippled water, undistinguished from the sky. My neighbour smooths his voice over the years, like his hands over slabs of wood, with measure and saw, with chisel and plane. I earned the wage, did all the little jobs, bills paid, trees grafted, roses exactly pruned. After the day's work, there was the house to be furbished and sanded, jointed and painted. The kitchen was hers. She liked things to be just so. His wife, now gone, her mind gone long before, his hands, now stiffened by age, must still support him on crutches. Once I'm down, I can't get up. The silver pole of the crutch must be pushed into the grey water. In this last painting, where sky and sea meet, the city hangs without past or future, shining stone unearthly in mist. He had procured universal approval, Francesco, but died in poverty. Far out in the lagoon, the boatman leans to cross the darkening water. Work to be done, taking him home. This is a poem from a section of the book where the poems are kind of inspired or related to incidents in Herodotus, the Greek historian. They're not about Herodotus. They're not really about Greek history. Although this one is kind of, it's got a visit. And it's a visit in the ancient times to a very ancient place which had previously been a great city, something like Mycenae. If you go there, the admission ticket has printed on it an ancient Greek poem bemoaning the fact that the city was great long ago and now is a ruin. So this is a visit. What has happened to this place? Cracked hearthstones, a dried up well, the line of a road pointing away. Why have I come here? There's nothing to see. My royal foot scratches in the dust, and I summon my librarian. The name, he says, of this barren, empty hill was one that all men trembled at, and its kings, rich in gold and grain and jars of oil and armed men, ruled as far as that trembling blur over there, the sea. Their names, however, and the name of the place are forgotten. A scatter of tiles and long-winged birds high circling act out their ceremonial of memory. He stares and bows. The place is a trap. Now I understand, as my banner droops on the hilltop. The name is an emptiness I have brought with me. And this is another poem which refers to Herodotus. It has a quote. Sifnos and Seriphos, that's two Greek islands, sent one ship each to fight with the Greeks against the Persians at Salamis. So this is a poem about walking around Seriphos, and it's called One Ship to Salamis. A mule clatters on cobbles from a hidden yard. Its rider greets us with the wave of a hand, and we stop and sweat. Better to stay at home, too hot for walking, he calls to us. It's hard going, sure enough, on rough-laid stones between crumbling walls. Tiny yellow snails gleam fresh at the edge of the path after rain. The track heads on now, following the bones of village mule paths laid down before roads up from the coast. Frogs ripple in a pool and vanish under stones. Overhead sway the arched wings of predatory birds buoyed on air. The path wavers on ahead. It's the last chance we have to walk this way before the boat leaves for home. High up above the sea, in a small empty farmstead, where sprout in sparse patches beans or oats, penned in darkness there, feeding her young, lies a great tufted sow, and a rainbow cockerel struts, and munching in the thorns, goats peer from the rocks. As if the land still rests after its one great effort, that single ship it sent to Salamis, its proud urgent crew hunching the shape of the island in their breasts, their amulet. These days there's not much here. Vagrant foreigners, bitter ocean wind browsing the scrub oak, traces of the last springs fed by winter, their overflow trickling clear over the worn rim of this ruined stone shell, time's empty carapace. One ship to Salamis, the oarsmen bent into a scattering of rain, the ship's wakes foam dissolving in the sea swell. The next poem is called Water Boatman, which is an insect which you see scuttling around on the surface of ponds. Water Boatman. There's the sky above the water, a fringe of twigs, the neighbouring meadow and a road leading to the city. It is the world of experience. Then there is the water itself, solid enough but ever in motion, even this rather dull pond, for the wind moves across it, the spirit perhaps over the water, and also through its pale depths down to its chalky bed, surprisingly white, a pale anti-world with a reflection up at the top, an underworld with dead things at the bottom. On the line between the two perches the water boatman, with its legs tensed against the filmy surface, like an old man resting in time, skimming the border between two elements, the airy past, the watery, liquid future, with its terminal gleam. Man is an insect, it declares, and like those getting old, it quivers and shoots off, precarious still, balanced on nothing, face down in the silent waters, seeking nourishment. This is another Greek poem. I don't apologise for so many Greek poems. I lived a very long time there. Pottery fragments. First, men's feet and horses, then a slanted line of swans. Beside them, a woman's arm holds out a bronze mirror, and a satyr's cut-off torso, just midriff, cock and thighs, lunges at someone's buttocks, while the bridegroom seizes the veiled bride's wrist. Over here, men with spears march over the edge. Small, isolated flowers grow. Some part of a corpse is dragged behind half a chariot. An absent world pushes the small figures apart. Their broken pieces tear and tear at the heart. This is a more personal poem about a lost daughter of mine who was born dead. 3 decades ago, dead at birth, your name chosen but not given, your body unseen except by those who disposed of you, your identity hung between a loss and a never to be. You said no words, sang no songs, had no scuffed knees, nor leapt into the shallows. Life of your own you failed to grasp. How you pronounced words childishly, spoke names of other girls. Your resemblance to the faded photo of your aunt gone before you, the tender heat of holding hands. In mine, slip through fingers airy spaces of your growing up, not disturbed by your actual breath, or by turbulent currents of you and me. My dad, you'd say, can be so annoying. Or later, we get on really well, considering. What's left unsaid, unchangeable, and of no existence, even though I feel you there. A part of me that released you into being urges me with words to give you life belatedly in lines, like strings of DNA winding across your unlived years, connecting us umbilically, my dead girl. I give your frail thread a tug from far off to say hello, as if it's your birthday. And that's all from me for today. Thank you for listening.